Hello everyone watching at home, you're with Sarva McClinton from Adelaide Eternal, bringing you another 7-minute, 7-point series deck tech. This time I'm bringing you my brew. It is called Solemknighty, obviously named after Solemnity and Knight of the Reliquary. So let's have a look at what's going on, because there's a lot of things going on in this deck. Now, first of all, I'll say that we are a combo deck. Now, the combos I've placed over here in this column, and some of which revolve around the card Solemnity, hence the namesake of the deck. So, for example, let's say there are 3 different ways to win. The first way is Dark Depths. Obviously, this pairs with Thespian Stage and Solemnity to create a 20/20 token to kill your opponent. Then you've also got the Knight of the Reliquary Retreat to Coral Helm combo. And if you haven't seen this in action before, essentially when the 2 are out, the Knight gets to find a land, trigger the landfall here, untap itself, and you keep doing this to find all the lands through your deck. Along the way, when you need to, you instead use a scry. You can scry sometimes when you need, if you want. But basically, you generate mana, make your Knight huge because you've got all your lands in your graveyard. Then the last land that you'll find is Kessig Wolfrun. You'll activate Kessig Wolfrun. You'll give Knight Trample, and you'll attack for lethal to make sure that it's a guaranteed kill. The last combo that's going on in here, number 3, is Scape Shift. So Scape Shift and Prismatic Omen means that when Omen is out and you have 6 lands available, cast Scape Shift, and your Valakut and 5 of any other type of land will all trigger to deal 18 damage to your opponent, which is usually lethal. So those are the 3 different ways to win. Why have I chosen these 3 different ways? Well, I've gone through a variety of different iterations of ways to win, and the reason I've chosen these 3 different ones is because they all have some kind of other benefit to them. So by themselves, aside from Solemnity by itself, the cards often do something. So simply looking at on the surface with Retreat to Coral Helm, this often lets you scry, and scrying in combo decks is very, very important. And then looking at Prismatic Omen by itself, this is probably the worst of the group. And at the end of the day, when you're playing a deck with a whole bunch of colourless tapping lands, all of these colourless tapping lands, and then also lands that don't even tap for mana, Prismatic Omen simply fixes your mana so that on turn 3, you're actually able to do a lot of things you wouldn't otherwise be able to do while still having a high quality of land. Knight of the Reliquary also by itself simply activates to find Valakut the Molten Pinnacle, and when you have the wrong half of combos, actually interact really nicely. So when you have Prismatic Omen out, you can sacrifice any land to Knight of the Reliquary to find Valakut, and then from that point on, you're actually dealing 3 damage with any possible land drops. And if you have the wrong half of these combos along with Crucible of Worlds or Fastbond, then you can actually just Gatling Gun out lands of any type, which are now mountains, with Valakut. So there's all these cool little interactions. Now, looking at not combo. So let's look at the reason why Solemnity is good in the deck. So there are other aspects to the deck. And for example, Thing in the Ice. When you play Thing in the Ice with Solemnity out, it has no counters. Then the next spell that you play allows it to flip instantly, which is really cool. So there's all these niche little combos. But in reality, whilst you have these 3 different ways of winning, the majority of the time, what you actually do is just assemble a pillow fort. So your first thing that you find, you might have Solemnity out, so then you will crop rotation for Glacial Chasm, and then sit behind the pillow fort. Or you have Solemnity out and then you tutor for Phyrexian Unlife, and you put that out and you basically become immune to damage. So sitting behind this pillow fort is really, really important. And again, Phyrexian Unlife by itself against aggro decks, here's our anti-aggro package. You just play it and it usually buys you 2 turns. And same with Glacial Chasm. So these are all useful cards by themselves. Now, we are a combo deck, so this package here is very, very important. This is our draw and tutor and filtering package. So obviously the mainstays of the format Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain, but we actually have 2 sub-themes in the deck. We have an Enchantress sub-theme, so you are able to draw cards off all these cute little enchantments that allow us to basically filter through or draw through our deck. And then we have our lands sub-theme. And the land sub-theme with crop rotation, for example, finds pieces of our combos. And also Exploration of Fastbond allow us to power out a large number of lands, which, as I said before, with Valakut and Prismatic Omen, or with Wasteland and Strip Mine and Crucible of Worlds, allow you to lock your opponent out of the game. So Pillow Fort and Lockout is in there. Now we have the tutor effects over here. All of these tutors find something or some important piece of your combo, and Wargate is right at the top end of that. It's expensive, but oftentimes it's a 3 mana find one of your lands, or 6 mana find one of your key combo pieces. Then we have Regrowth to refuel combos that get countered, and Idyllic Tutor is your dirtly card that obviously tutors for these things, but you often side this out against aggro, for example. Enlightened Tutor is the best of the lot. Then we talked about our lands package, but Life from the Loam and Wasteland Strip Mine is fantastic, and also you know brainstorm away some of those lands that are in your hand, and so on and so forth. We don't need to talk about this package; it's a mainstay in many other decks. So, how do you stay alive? Well, we talked about the Pillow Fort, but sometimes you need to just stay alive before the Pillow Fort can be assembled. And once the Pillow Fort is assembled, you can put out Sterling Grove and make it a true fortress because they all have Shroud. But here we've got Balance for the early game, and we've got Thing in the Ice as well that blocks, which is really nice. Elephant Grass is fantastic as well. Again, interacts with Solemnity to just stick around forever. And Soul Snare as that cheap thing you might tutor for. Then we have our Protection against combo. These are all against control. These are very, very soft counter spells. So this soft permission allows you to go off quite early and with very little mana investment, and Remand returns the card back to your hand when it gets countered. Then we have the mana here, 26 mana producing sources, and then we have these things that allow us to ramp, and then we also have the Destroy Your Opponent's Lands, which again, I always love not letting my opponent have any fun. So let's go over to the sideboard. So we talked about sideboarding out dirtily cards and sideboarding in against aggro. Maze of Ith is great. Propaganda effects are also fantastic, and Parallax Wave is really, really cool too. If you haven't played with this card before, it takes a bit of practice, but it's fantastic. Then against combo, what you can do is you side out some of that creature control, and instead we actually present the ability to draw multiple cards. Remora again combos with Solemnity and Enchantress's Presence, and then also when our opponent counters our things, then in the late game you can just replenish them. City of Solitude is great to make sure things resolve. And then against the combo decks we have Stony Silence, Bajuka Bog, and, choose your poison, make sure that it's against the right deck. But sometimes you just want to combo out faster than them or have more combo options. Against the creature decks you can also side out dirtily cards and side in more combos, because Rest in Peace and Energy Field makes you again Pillow Fort immune to damage, and Helm of Obedience combos with these two, as well as Rest in Peace just being a good combo anti-combo card by itself. So if you like the look of Solemnity, sleeve it up and enjoy. It's a whole lot of fun, lots of complex lines, takes a lot of practice, but it's really, really cool. Enjoy.